So I do believe in rights for a woman, right, to have their choice of whatever with their body. However, the dad should have a say in a sense because of the consequences that it takes two to tango, not one to party. You know what I'm saying? They could also actually both wear a contraceptive of some sort to avoid um, the actions and consequences, unless it's on the SA ordeal or the R ordeal, then I believe they should be able to actually do such as is will for the person have ill intentions to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of agree with
Do you
with
think a
with with
person
that part.
should require their partner's signature in order to get an abortion?
I do believe that would be a right because let's say you decided to want to have it and he's not consenting to it such because like I said, it takes two, right? So they should actually have a say in the matter too. Like, okay, you don't want it, okay, so I have to sign, or at least you carry the baby to term, and then you give me the baby if you don't want it. You know what I'm saying? You
Why
carry the baby, give me the baby. You have no.
why should he be able to force his partner to sustain pregnancy?
Well, the responsibility starts with both. If you don't want to wear a turtle wrap, or she doesn't want to wear a turtle wrap, then you both, the consequences are on both. Because this is
51% of abortions are due to failed contraceptive. So this narrative that people aren't taking active measures to protect against pregnancy is false. My question,
so how.
though, which I don't feel that
Mhm.
you answered, is why should a man be able to force his partner to sustain pregnancy?
Did okay? So my question to you is: did they force you to go into bed and to go into bed? And
No.
they okay. So there's that. So
So
you
I'm
as a
sorry.
person,
You're saying because a woman consents to having sex, that her man now owns her body and can force her
no.
to do with it as he pleases.
Okay, but if you have the baby, right? The man has a right to see his kid, and you have the right to put him on child support, right? So he
Right.
can
And
take
if
care of
you
the
have
baby,
the
even though you didn't
kid,
want it.
wait. And if you have the kid and the man takes the kid, the woman also has those rights. So that's not one-sided in that
It
aspect. If you have
it
the
is one
child,
sided.
both parents are obligated or responsible to either provide care for the child or to provide child support. That's not specifically a man's issue. And again, I feel like you've really dodged my question. Tell me why it is ethical for a man to force a woman to sustain pregnancy.
Because that's just the way that nature works. Name a male animal that has gotten pregnant other than the seahorse that actually hatches the eggs.
So you're saying because a woman gets pregnant, that now she has some kind of obligation to sustain the pregnancy only if her man requests she does because
Didn't
of
say that.
nature?
Then you signed up not making her. You can't make a person do
Well,
anything because
you did say
it
that
started to
if
excuse me. Listen, it started to begin with that's just the way you were made. Then just close your legs, and men close their legs too. And
can
that's
you
it.
tell me
Because
what
we
the
are the only.
purpose can you tell
I'm
me
sorry. Go ahead.
what purposes sex serves for humans?
To breed, but apparently we're the only ones that actually use it for pleasure.
To breed. Okay. So if
Hmm.
this is sex's only purpose and that we should be looking at nature for kind of determining how things go, do you support intercourse with people who, with children who have reached puberty?
Absolutely not. That's why I said
Why?
that only on those cases
No, no,
I do not
no, wait.
consent to that because
Why?
it's
Why?
just
Because
dirty.
this is your logic. This is your logic that sex is simply for procreation and that we should look to nature when it comes to how we should conduct things. So I gave you a child who has gone through puberty. Why would it be
Of
immoral to
course
have
not,
sex with them if it's only for procreation purposes?
because it's immoral for an adult to actually look at a child that way.
Why?
Okay, we're
Nature
talking about
nature
because
says
it
it's
is.
okay. Why? Nature
No,
says
no,
it's
no, no, no,
okay,
no, no.
according
See,
to you.
you're trying to change the logic here. I'm
No,
talking about as
this is
adults,
your
as
logic.
a
This is your logic
no,
because you
as
presented to me
adults,
a naturalistic fallacy.
as consenting
You
adults. This has nothing to
presented
do with
to
a child.
me a naturalistic fallacy. Your logic, did you say that women should need permission or for their partner to sign off on them getting an abortion? Did you say that?
If remember what I said in my
That's
comments,
a
but
yes or
apparently you
no.
didn't read it.
That's a
Listen,
yes or no.
of course not. I don't consent to that kind of fallacy when it comes to involves children. That's fucking immoral.
That's not, again, you're not listening. I asked you, did you say that for someone, in order for them to get an abortion, that they should require the partner to sign off on the procedure?
I did say that unless it involves SA or ARC. Listen to the comments that I said that I'll debate you.
Right. So
Unless it
you are
involves those two.
telling me, so you are telling me that essentially a person needs a man's permission to get an abortion. And I'm asking you why that's ethical.
If the father wants the baby and you already wanted to actually have and you already consented to such act because it takes two. You an adult a father needs to come and father needs
Let
to
me
come
tell you
a
something. Let
listen.
me tell you something. Women do not owe men jack shit. We do not owe men an incubation service so that they can be a father.
Okay. So under what views on that do you consider yourself a Christian whenever you're promoting murder?
I'm not a Christian. I
Well, it
actually
says
find
white Christian
Christianity to be very
nationalism.
immoral.
I got you. I so it makes no sense.
It
The
makes perfect
morality of
sense.
killing no. The morality of killing a child under certain circumstances, like I said, I agree. Under certain circumstances, I
Well,
agree.
so if the man wants an abortion, are you saying that the woman should have to get it?
If it's either choice, there's something they discuss as a partner, not ideological. Not every couple is the same.
Right, but you want to give men the rights to his partner's body.
Okay, and you want to decide what the partner that was involved with in the action no right whatsoever.
No, not at all. Let me ask you, if I were to meet a man and I would probably have an abortion, would he then now have the opportunity to go find someone else to have sex with?
That will be his option. It will be okay. Then I'm wearing
So
two condoms,
don't
and the
tell me
same
that
thing. And the
men
same thing
don't
with
have a
you.
voice in this situation when they
We
can
don't.
easily interview their
We
partner prior to them having sex.
yes, I can agree with that. But at the same time,
Yeah, so
if
don't
he
take
doesn't know,
this.
if you had a one night stand, right? Because I'm not going to say
Well,
nobody has ever had
it's
a
not
one night
our
stand,
problem
right?
that he didn't interview correctly.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. But killing a baby is going to be okay if it happens mutually
So
under consenting
wait.
adults.
You,
Hey,
so
hold on,
now are you
listen,
trying to
listen.
pivot this to abortion is murder?
Abortion is murder. Abortion
So
is
you are
murder.
pro-life. You are not pro-choice.
I'm pro-life and pro-choice under certain circumstances. Like I said, if it
So
involves
tell me,
SA or R,
why does the embryo only have value in the instance that the host is dying or that they've been assaulted.
If they've been assaulted because it wasn't her choice to actually get that action done upon her,
But
right?
how does that change the value of the fetus?
It's a matter of ethical. It's a matter of ethics.
I
On my
see.
ethical value of how I feel such.
You just feel that women who are exercising autonomy over their own body shouldn't have a choice. That they
Never
only
said that
deserve
either.
a choice when they are either dying or they have experienced trauma.
Okay, so I got a question for you. What percentage of condoms fail? And what percentage, if you taking a contraceptive,
condoms
hold on,
83%
if I'm,
effective.
okay, so if you're taking birth control, right, as you should, since you're pro-life and you don't want to get pregnant, and
I'm
if a
pro-choice.
man responsibly is pro-choice or whatever the case may be, and he wears a condom, how in the world do you get pregnant? With 85% and 99.9%.
The man.
Okay.
I mean, is that the man's fault?
What is it the man's fault when you both got to make?
She got pregnant. I mean, that's really whose fault it is. Like, women just don't impregnate themselves. It must be the man's fault. Like, why? Can I ask you, why can men keep their DNA to themselves?
And why you females can't keep your legs closed if you don't want babies?
So again, here, like your take is so misogynistic, and I am baffled.
I'm actually not so much. I'm actually not so much because no, I'm actually not so.
No, your take is very misogynistic because essentially you're saying that a woman who does not want to be pregnant or does not want to be a mother shouldn't have sex. So you're simply reducing now her role to being a mother or to being pregnant. You're also saying that women only deserve autonomy over their own body if they are dying or if they have been assaulted. Like, your take is so inherently misogynistic. It's garbage. And I assume that comes from your Christian values.
I believe in life as long as it doesn't invade under the words that we discuss, which I don't want anyone to get banned or anything like that. Okay. It doesn't make any sense. You have those.
You just don't like women having control over themselves. You want to exert dominance over women. That's your issue.
No, completely incorrect.
Did you not say that someone should need their partner's permission to get an abortion? So you only agree with abortion in the case that her partner gives her permission to do so?
Wrong. I said for her to have the baby. For her to have the baby, he should have a say-so. And in an abortion, he should have a say-so too.
He can have his opinion, but he has no rights. What rights would a man have to someone else's body?
The minute you gave into actually doing the action that you're talking about.
So you're saying that you wanted. Okay, so you wanted. I want to make sure that I understand your talking point correctly, because this is very scary to me. You are saying that when women have sex with men, they have now consented to men determining what happens to their body.
Didn't say that.
What are you saying?
I said, what I'm trying to tell you is that you both need to be responsible.
Abortion is responsible.
No, it's not responsible. It shouldn't be a form of birth control.
Why is it not?
Because you're killing a life. You're killing a person.
You are terminating pregnancy.
So you're murdering. There was a baby born at 20 weeks old and breathing on its own. When do you consider that abortion shouldn't happen?
1 day.
Okay, 21 weeks. So when do you consider abortion not being an option?
Because when we talk about abortion, 98% of abortions occur before 21 weeks.
Bullshit.
That is not bullshit.
You want to know why?
That is a common statistic.
Bullshit. Because my ex-wife, she took my baby's life at 5.5 months pregnant, and the doctor did the abortion.
That doesn't discount my statistic.
It does discount because it happens more often. than not, because a lot
No,
of medical cares actually.
you pointing out one case does not discount
So
my
give me the
statistics saying that
statistics.
98% of all abortions happen prior to 21 weeks.
Where? I would like those statistics actually.
If you would like, the first one is the American Pregnancy Association. The second one is guttmacher.org. The third one is the CDC. Would you like more, or is that good?
Okay, the CDC. I don't believe in the CDC anymore after all this shit
I'm
that
sure you
happened, all
don't.
this shit show
I'm
that
sure
they
you don't.
created.
The American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology is the fourth one. Are those four okay?
I'm good with that. I just
Okay.
think it's still murder, though. I
Great.
mean,
So you concede that 98% of abortions occur before 21 weeks.
not necessarily, but okay.
Well, why don't you provide me your
I'll
statistic? What is the correct statistic? If mine is wrong, what is the correct one?
that you 98% of you guys choose it as a form of contraceptive instead of wanting to actually wear a
That's
condom
not the
and take
question.
your
I
pills
said
every day.
98% of abortions occur before 21 weeks of pregnancy. You are saying that is incorrect. Tell me what is correct.
It is incorrect because of the fact that of the choices that you guys have
Tell
made.
me what is the
That
correct
you obviously,
number. Tell me what is the correct number.
I would probably say about 98% of you guys actually just use it as a
Tell me
contraceptive.
what is the correct number. Would you like me to repeat the question so that you can write it down? Because
Sure,
you
go
can
ahead.
answer a direct question to save your life. If my claim is that 98% of abortions occur before 21 weeks of pregnancy, if that is incorrect, tell me what the correct percentage is.
I would probably say about 60%.
Okay.
Because it
And what
depends
is
on the
your
state
source?
and
And what is your source? And what is your source?
I gotta Google it.
Okay, so you have no source. Just wanted to
I
highlight
have
that.
no
Okay,
source.
great.
I have no
Gotcha.
source.
So your opinion is based on zero education.
No, my opinion is that actually that I understand the body autonomy part or whatever, and that
No,
both
you
partners should actually respect each other. But at the same time, you actually supposed to actually come together as partners and actually acknowledge each other as to what to do.
then a man should support his partner's choice to have an abortion. If that is your true feelings, he should support her decision.
Yeah, support. But if he doesn't,
Why
then
wouldn't he?
then
Why wouldn't he? What does a woman having an abortion, what does that take away from her partner?
it takes a child's life. It's still
Really? So
murder.
you were saying that he was a parent when she was
It.
pregnant.
I'm sorry.
You are saying
I
that
didn't
when
hear
a
you.
woman is pregnant, the man is a parent.
Yes, it starts at
Who
conception.
is he parenting?
Who is he parenting?
Yeah.
Her, and nurturing her to make sure that she's okay,
So
to make sure that nothing happens to either one.
you don't parent your partner.
I'm talking about parenting as far as making sure that she can make it to the
That's not
appointments. That
parenting.
she has
That's not parenting.
every
If a
means.
man wants to take his fetus to Disneyland but leave his woman at home, how does he do that?
What kind of logic is that you're using? It doesn't
Well,
even
you're
make any
telling me he's
sense.
a parent. Why can't he parent his fetus? That's my whole point, is that a man is not a parent until the child is born. He is a
Bullshit.
partner. He is a
They're
partner
both are
supporting
partners
his
and they're
parent.
both our parents expecting to be.
No, I would agree that a woman could be a parent, sure, but not the man, because there's no one for him to parent.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Are you sure about that? Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any kids? Do you have any
Yes.
kids? How many do you have? If you don't mind me asking that question.
One.
Okay. Do you love your baby?
Of course. He's not my
Okay.
he's
Do
not my
you
baby,
love your
but sure.
so you love your you love your child, right?
Yes.
Why would you actually, if you was to actually get, pregnant again, why would you actually consent to terminate that pregnancy?
I've had an abortion. And if I
Okay,
wouldn't
but
have
what?
had my wait. And if I wouldn't have had my abortion, my son wouldn't be here.
So, but why have it though? Why have the
What?
abortion? Why have the abortion, and what happened to the partner to being there for you? Was he okay with that, or did it against his will?
Why does that matter? Why does my own personal story matter? Unlike you, I can actually have an opinion that's based on evidence and data and not completely based on my own emotions and personal experience.
Yes, I read the
Because
comments.
now my
Mind your
story
business.
would actually counteract your story, where because I had an abortion, I got my happy ending.
I got you. Okay, I can see. I respect your point of view without being condescending.
Well, you're a
I just wanted to see
misogynist.
your outtake. Completely wrong.
This
Wrong.
is more than just like opinions. These are your beliefs, and your beliefs oppress a certain demographic. And I have a problem
Oppress
with that.
oppress a demographic based on the fact that you choose to kill the child based on your immoral actions
Okay,
from two people
let's talk
hold on,
about
hold on,
murder. Let's talk about
from
murder,
two people.
because this is a huge talking point for you. And honestly, abortion is murder is the stupidest statement, and it clearly shows to me that you really don't understand. Can you tell me,
Really?
when it comes to, are you saying that an embryo has a right to life?
Yes.
Great. So this is a rights discussion, correct?
Correct. Under, like I said, except
Perfect. So how
under
familiar
the
are
two
you when it
ordeals.
comes to rights? How familiar are you with rights?
Right? Pretty familiar.
Great. Do you know the difference between positive rights and negative rights?
Yeah, I could say
You do.
I do.
Great. So is the right to life a positive right or a negative right?
The right to life is a positive right because you deserve the
Okay.
right to live.
So why is the right to life a positive right?
He deserves to. It just the creature deserves to live.
I see. Could you define a positive right for me?
The positive right is the life begins at conception,
No,
and because it
I'm
is
asking you to define. You said you knew the difference between positive and negative rights. So I would like you to define what positive and negative rights are.
negative rights are those who are oppressed, and positive rights are those that actually get the right to live.
No, so that's incorrect. So
Okay, explain.
positive
Educate me,
rights.
please.
I am so excited because I can't tell you how many of you walk into this discussion with your chest out like, I'm a big man, I know what I'm talking about, and then
Nope,
completely
no,
highlight
ma'am.
that you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Like, it gets me every time. So a positive right is essentially a right that you require from society or from another person. Like the right to healthcare would be a positive right because it's not just something you're innately born with. You require it from a societal structure. Where
Sure.
a negative right is something that you just inherently possess and you don't want someone to infringe upon it, such as the state or another person. So when we talk about the right to life is a negative right because you possess your life and you don't want the state to take it away from you or another person. Now, the reason the right to life cannot apply to a fetus or embryo is because they are on life support. They do not innately have life. They require life support from someone else. So
Gotcha.
a woman removing her life support is not the same as murder because murder is the taking of the negative right, where abortion is the taking of a positive right, which is why they are different.
Actually, that's kind of. I see your point, and it completely see your point. But if
Right.
it's basically like you being on chat. It's
So
just like being.
wait. Do you concede now that abortion is not murder?
Listen to my point first. I can't
Wait.
concede
You
to
just
something
said you
unless
saw
I
my
get.
point. You just said you saw my point, which I really give you credit for.
I said I
Uh,
see your point in a.
do
I see
you
your point in a
concede
sense.
that
I
abortion
can't
is not
concede to
murder?
some. No, I can't concede to that.
Okay.
Listen to my
Okay.
point. What I'm trying to make.
Sure.
I'm
Sure.
okay. So if you were on life support, and I chose to unplug you, which is exactly what happens when you actually unplug, when you actually commit, the abortion act. It's basically
Yeah.
like unplugging a human being,
Great. I can agree.
right? So
Yeah.
if you do that, so therefore it does become a murder act, because if let's say I'm your
It
partner
doesn't.
and
It
you're on life
doesn't.
support. Okay, so let's say I'm
We
your partner
actually
and
give
you're
we actually give families agency to decide if they want to keep their loved one on life support. So we do allow this in society. And if families choose not to keep their loved one on life support, they are not charged. It is not a crime.
the thing is that it's because medically viable at that point, because they say it's not, right? Because
Well,
they
neither
say it's
is
not.
an embryo.
But
Neither is an embryo.
if they
It's
told
not medically
if you
viable.
listen listen
I am listening.
if the doctor told me that you had 30% chance of living on life support and you can come out of it, and I unplug you and you just die, and the doctor says, well, it's okay, it was okay, the baby has more
Yeah.
chances of actually surviving in the womb than it actually has being actually anything like, there's only a 1% to 2%
So that's
risk.
irrelevant. So that's irrelevant. You have to understand that. So I do agree with you that essentially abortion is taking someone off life support. Now, where that analogy begins to fail is because someone who is hooked onto life support is hooked up to a machine, whereas a fetus or embryo is hooked up to another person. So now when they're hooked up to another person, it becomes a rights issue. Where does that other person have the right to govern their own body and say that I do not have to use my bodily resources to sustain your life support?
I got your point. And Aaron, ask him if he's okay with the government forcing give me a kidney. If you actually need a kidney to survive, I'll give you a kidney. I have two perfectly good kidneys. I will give you a kidney, Aaron.
Well,
And the
so
reason being is
that's
because
you giving consent. That's you giving consent. But
I'll
if
give him a
you
kidney.
didn't give consent, that's another issue, which is where it comes into with abortion. This person is not giving consent to their uterus being used.
It,
So why would you
and
force?
you're
Can
right.
I give you an analogy? May I give you an analogy?
Sure, go ahead.
Great. So let's say that I'm driving in a car and I have a passenger with me in my car, and my husband is driving in another car, and we're driving side by side on a highway. Now, my husband is a little bit reckless and a little bit aggressive. So he ends up speeding up and cutting me off. And I'm not the greatest driver, so I don't react well. I end up losing control over the car and I hit a guardrail. And me hitting the guardrail leaves me and my passenger unconscious. When we're taken to the hospital, by the time we get to the hospital, my passenger has lost a lot of blood. And it happens to be a very rare blood type that the hospital does not have on hand. My
Yeah,
husband isn't
gotcha.
a match, but I am a match. So while I'm unconscious, the doctors hook up my passenger to me for a blood transfusion in order to save their life. When I wake up, I am told by the doctors that I have to stay in this blood transfusion for the next 9 months, or if I disconnect, my passenger will die. Do I have the right to disconnect myself from my passenger?
That will be on your conscience. That person's a living person either way.
I'm just asking you. I'm just asking you.
So,
Do I
but
have the
the doctor
right?
can, the doctors can't force you to do anything you don't want to do.
This is a simple ethics question. I'm asking you from your ethical framework. Do I have the right to disconnect myself from my passenger?
That's up to you and your conscience.
I'm asking, fine, we'll change it to you.
You,
You are hooked up to the passenger. Do you have the right to disconnect?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
So you are avoiding it because I just want you to answer when it comes to a legal framework, could the government force me to stay hooked up to my passenger?
The government does not have a right to say what happens in your with you. Okay, but
Right.
however,
So you're
y'all,
saying
the whole
under law, I could legally unhook myself from my passenger and it would not result in any criminal charge.
yes, because
Great.
that's your choice. But at the same time, you choose to unhook a baby, you're creating murder because actually you are actually you're ending a life.
Well, I told you me unhooking myself from my passenger would result in their death. I told
But
you it would
actually, that's
result
not
in
your
their death.
fetus, though. Is that was
It
a,
is.
that was
So that analogy I gave you is the perfect analogy to pregnancy. And you essentially said that I would have the right to unhook myself. So, based on your own framework, a woman should have the right to have an abortion.
Did you carry that human? That's the problem. The problem with the
But
analogy is you
so
didn't carry that. You didn't
do you
carry him.
understand the analogy?
I understand your point of view. Yes.
So
Do I
me and
respect
my
it?
husband driving, what is that analogous to?
The thing is that people need to make better choices in everyday life,
An
right?
abortion
I
is a moral decision and it is not the result of
But okay.
irresponsibility.
So yes, okay. Let's go. Let's go. Let's believe that I'm okay with that. Let's believe
Okay.
I'm okay with that. But it
Okay.
should not be. But it should not be funded by our tax dollars. If you
It's
want to
not.
get it, it is.
It's not.
It is.
Have you heard of the
It
Hyde
is.
Amendment? Have you heard of the Hyde Amendment?
The Hyde Amendment. It's
Yes.
still money that's coming from. It's still
Have
coming
you
from the.
heard of the Hyde Amendment?
Actually, the Hyde Amendment. No, actually, I haven't heard about that one.
The Hyde Amendment prevents government dollars to be used towards abortion procedures. So no, abortions are an out of pocket expense and not funded by the government.
You sure about that? Look up the
Very
people.
sure. If
There's
you
like
if you would
look at
like
the
to Google the Hyde Amendment, I can actually, you know what? I'll do it for you. The Hyde
look up the
Amendment.
Hyde. Look up
Let's read it together.
look up
Let's
Planned
read it
Parenthood.
together. In U.S. politics, the Hyde Amendment is a legislative provision barring the use of federal funds to pay for an abortion.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm like so far like I'm being educated on certain things. You have your beliefs, I have
Right.
mine.
Yeah. So
Can we respect that?
I hope you really acknowledge that your opinion that you have formulated is not really kind of based in any kind of educational lens.
I got you. I like I said, I respect your choice and your decisions and whatever you make. Okay. At the same time, I still believe that it's still murder. Just because it's
You want
legalized,
right, but you can't substantiate why. Do you want abortion to be illegal?
not entirely all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like not entirely. Like I don't want it entirely. And the reason being is because of the fact under certain circumstances, I have a sister that was kidnapped in 2006. We have not heard from my sister. We don't know where she is. So I kind of understand the point of what happens, okay? And the points that you're making.
So
I do understand those.
I'm very sorry to hear about your sister. I don't want it to go kind of veer off course. I just want to understand when it comes to abortion, do you care that women have abortions, even if they're not dying and they haven't been assaulted?
I do care. I do care. That would
And
be
do
a
you want
choice. That
that
would be a
illegal?
choice.
So you want it to be illegal?
I want it to be an area that actually is beneficial to both in
So
the areas of
let me just clarify. If you and I want to come up with ways to reduce abortion, we can do that. I am all for sex health education, K through 12. I am all for public funding of IUDs and long-acting reversible contraceptives. I am for the government funding more access to healthcare so that no one is marginalized. Those would be ways
Mm-hmm.
to prevent unwanted pregnancy. If we want to
Mm-hmm.
look at another way so that when someone does have an unplanned pregnancy, they feel they have more options rather than just abortion, that would be free healthcare, free daycare, paid maternity and paternity leave, and a living wage. I'm for all of those policies because those would actually be pragmatic policies that reduce abortion, that increase the lives, that benefit the lives of parents and children, and that do not
Mm-hmm.
subjugate or oppress anyone. So I'm for all of those measures. My only request is
So
you take abortion bans off your list because they don't do
so
anything.
how
All they do is
okay, so
subjugate
how
and oppress women and trans men.
okay, so how about we agree with the fact that they make okay, consenting adults again, because obviously
I
shit happens
do
in this
not
world.
care. I do not care why
No,
someone
no,
has an
listen.
abortion.
No, 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 listen. How about they actually take and actually go and the abortion clinic does an IUD implant, like it was in the comments in a sense. An IUD implant. You don't want kids right now? You're 18, whatever, you're enjoying your life
Why don't we just mandate vasectomies?
because you can always remove the IUD.
Well, you can
And the
have the
same thing with men.
vasectomy
No,
reversed.
correct. No, correct. For both. Let's do it for both.
No, let's just do
Let's
it for
do it for
men.
both.
Let's just do it for men.
No, equal rights, right? Let's do it for both.
No, no, because you want to create a law governing a woman's body. So now I want to create a law governing a man's body. And a man at the age, let's say 15, is required now to get not only a vasectomy, but required for his DNA to be taken and put on file.
Okay, then freaking mandate that.
Great. We are in
Right?
agreement.
That I mean, because it happens, especially to the guys that actually do essay ordeals. You know what I'm saying? Or art or the R word or grapes, as somebody called it.
Yep.
Put them on the same thing. Actually, give them a permanent one. Chop them off. Neuter them permanently. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel that your moral compass is very askew and that you really need a different lens in society.
I'll definitely look up. It was definitely nice. I know the comments is, it's all over. You have educated me a lot, on this whole ordeal. I see a different point of view, and I'm actually starting to agree with you on the way it is. I really am.
Right.
You
I'm
you actually,
I'm glad that you're open-minded to shifting your opinion.
yeah. It's definitely it definitely gave me a lot of insight on that.
Excellent.
So I'm
If
willing
you
to
would like
admit being
some
a human.
if you would like a book to read, The Turnaway Study would be a great book for you.
Turn away study. Is
Mhm.
it available online so I can download it?
Yeah, and it's also available on Audible. It essentially is a study that studied 1,000 women who were denied abortion services.
And see, and that's just like we discussed. It is a right. It is a right when it comes to that, because seeing it from your lens, because I was always taught different. Grew up Catholic. Go figure. It definitely opened my eyes that, yeah, it is essentially, you guys go through a lot.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Very sorry to hear what happened to your
You,
sister.
it happens and we're dealing with it. But be blessed, and
You,
your babies and everything else, your baby and your family. Okay.
thank you. I appreciate it. You have a great
You have a
weekend.
good day. You're
Bye
welcome.
bye.
You too. Bye bye.
I don't know what happened. Okay, so I just want to make sure